The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
This message is brought to you by Abercrombie Kids, where the activewear is made for every summer activity, so your mini-me can bring their personal best. Summer days are always an adventure, from day camp to rec leagues and pool days. Abercrombie Kids has the shorts, tees, and swim to keep them comfy and keep up with them. Get everything for the entire summer at Abercrombie Kids. Shop in-store, online, or in the app.
ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track. And ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by PetSmart. Stop by for Yappy Hour with your pet at PetSmart. Save $5 on walk-in grooming services like nail trims, ear cleaning, brushing, and more. No appointment needed every weekday from 2 to 6 p.m. And while you're there, Yappy Hour includes exclusive in-store deals, like 25% off pet toys. Visit services.petsmart.com/grooming to learn more.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another Shades of Blue episode. This is the Shapi Appreciation episode. That's what I'm going to name it. This is Thad from the KC Soccer Journal, and across the screen from me is Robert Russert. How you doing, Robert?
Doing great, and yes, Mr. Shapi deserves some love for sure.
He got some love in St. Louis last night, didn't he?
You gotta love the catcalls, gotta love the booze, and he handled it with style, let's say, huh?
Style, a couple of different styles, yeah. What was he? That one picture of him, is he doing like making, moose ears at them? I don't know. What's he doing?
I think it maybe has something to do with, okay, give me some more. Give me some more. I'm loving it. I'm eating this up. Keep booing me. I don't care what you do, because I just served a ball in the box. It just tied up this game. And, your shit isn't going to bother us.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know. It was so he could, hear the love even more. Pompeo, Poppy, whatever the hell his name is, was given Shapi all kinds of crap throughout the second half, man. Did you see what started that little altercation? Because I noticed it, and like he was giving Shapi a hard time, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, what happened? And I focused on keeping an eye on them for a while, and Shapi was just kind of like laughing at him, and he was so mad.
So, I mean, you were there. What do you got for us?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was on the other side of the field, so I mean, it's the other half. I'm on one end. It's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
But nobody knows exactly if I've not found out from anybody exactly what may have started it. If something happened, other than they just were talking. But
Talking, yeah, they were talking. That's right, Thad. They were just having a friendly chat.
talking, communicating, exchanging information in some form, whether it was verbal, physical, mental. It drove him mental.
Well, Pompeo, when he scored this goal, he looked pretty smug doing it, and he was pretty excited. Okay, fine, great. You score a goal in a derby, get your team on top, and your team's been struggling. Great, good for you.
It was a heck of a goal too.
It was. We could talk
him.
about that later, but and then later on he had another chance that just went wide, and he was feeling it on the night. So, I think he was locked into what was going on the field. The fans were boisterous all night. Was it pretty loud there?
Yeah, it was, and there was not a ton of Sporting fans there. I mean, there was some, and probably half of them were Miller's family,
Right. Yeah.
or more. Man, he had 200 tickets, I guess. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
200 Jansen Miller tickets, and I saw a not a ton, but a few Jansen Miller jerseys and stuff like that. But
Nice, nice.
I could hear them, and it's because I'm used to sitting in near the away fans at Children's Mercy Park, and it's always like easier to hear the one that's closer to you. But there was times I could hear the Sporting fans as well as the St. Louis fans, and they were, there was not a huge number of Sporting fans there. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I'm sure that Shapi did something, said something that, I'm sure Shapi's not innocent here, is what I'm saying, as far as just, getting into the moment himself a little bit. But obviously, obviously Pompeo was the ass here, right?
I thought so, man, and I kept hearing people like saying how Shoppy was being such a jerk about it. I'm like, I did not see him doing anything. Again, I look, I'm just talking out my ass a little bit on some of this. I'll admit, man, I appreciate Shoppy if he was just talking and upsetting Pompeo that much, he went up my appreciation. I mean, tenfold, quite honestly, because I used to love to chat with my opponents and not say anything bad,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
say things to get them a little off kilter. And so I appreciated Shoppy did that, man.
Well, there were a couple of different expressions on Shapi's face during their discussions. And, of course, sporting media caught the perfect one where he's just like, why is this guy acting like a child? Was the look on
Yeah.
Shapi's face.
And I've not loaded up the photos on well, I just loaded up the photos on the computer. I have not really looked through them. I was looking through them last night and I pulled a few off for the article as I could, but I know I have one photo of it. Again, you can interpret it however you want, but it looked all the world to me like Shoppy is just laughing into his ha 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 ha, and he's just so mad behind him, Pompeo. So
Well, how do you upset a bully, right? You just kind of laugh at them, right? Because they don't expect that, and that throws them off. So I think
yeah,
that was the whole situation. Clear bully, clear person, just like saying, whatever, dude.
yeah. I gotta find that photo as
Which
soon as
app
I
do you want
can.
to open?
I think that was my watch actually listening to our conversation here. I
Wow,
had to turn my watch off. It's kind of freaky, isn't it?
a little bit.
A little bit.
All right, so I'm gonna call this the Shopee Appreciation Pod, but overall it was a good game by Sporting. I mean, yes, they went down 2-0, a tremendous goal and a little bit of free goal, man. What did you see? What was your impression of that first half? Just the goals, the overall play for Kansas City.
Well, the first half, we had some chances. We had some good chances, some good build-ups where we got some good looks, and we just didn't have it in the final third when we had those opportunities. And then the rest of the time, when we didn't make that clever ball, it was just like we were just didn't have any ideas in the final third. So, I felt okay at the end of that first half until that fluky goal happened, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, okay. This is just typical lucky St. Louis. It's harkening back to last year when they had 5 or 6 times where the opponent passed the ball back to their forward and that's
Oh,
how they
the
scored.
the first season.
Yeah, the first season, right? Yeah. It
Yeah,
felt that kind of way. It's like, oh my Lord, really? Seriously? We've never won in St. Louis during the regular season. It's like, oh, okay. Well, here we go.
yeah. And again, it's hard to win on the road. It's hard to win in places where, it's considered rivalries, because again, I did not really feel it was a rivalry until Sporting beat them in the postseason of that first year.
Right.
Before that, it's a manufactured rivalry because teams haven't played each other. Yes, the cities have a rivalry, and St. Louis built it up so much that first year, all the stuff. And then Kansas City responded with some of it too, for damn sure. But it
So that first goal that St. Louis scored, I mean, you've got to look at Miller. Okay, hate to say it, but his clearance was lame. It wasn't what it should have been. And then I don't know, Basong I probably would have done the same thing. I don't know about you, Thad, but you don't turn your back and turn away from a shot there. You've got to be bold in the moment. You've got to be there. Put your hands, against your sides and behind your back if you need to, but don't duck away from the shot, right?
Yeah. It's always easier to say that when you're not the one getting hit. But
For sure,
yes,
for
no, I
sure.
totally agree. Block the shots, right?
If you can, yes. Yeah, don't turn away. But I've been guilty of that before, perhaps. But yeah, that second goal again, the fluke nature of it is like, oh geez. Yeah, here we go. So what do you think? Do you have any insight as to what, Carey and the team talked about at halftime?
I don't think it was anybody was really directly asked that, but there was a lot of, we still had the belief and all that, and they've had some, good second halves under Carey so far. So I think they're just they're continuing to believe in themselves that they can play well, and they still are very far from perfect. So
So
uh,
did you see anything particularly different in the second half?
I don't want to say I saw something different, but just with the way the subs ended up going, with Radia coming in and then going back out, and Leibold coming in. Obviously, he got that first goal. I don't think it was because he was in there; he was in the right spot and he finished it. Shapi coming in, I think made a big difference because he disturbed the defense there. But St. Louis has been pretty poor on defense in the second half a lot of this year. They've been pretty stout in the first half because they've
Yeah.
been playing a very defensive lineup, my understanding. But they've been a little bit poor in the second half. So I don't know if it was a combination of the changes that Carey made, or St. Louis just kind of falling apart a little bit again, or just the luck returning back to the mean, because obviously they got lucky for one of those goals.
Yeah,
Again, the
I
other one
mean,
was good.
yeah, the first half, I was a little down on Joveljic. I was saying, okay, you're supposed to be that guy. You're supposed to be the guy in those moments that's supposed to finish or at least get it on goal, right? In
Yeah.
the first half, he wasn't that guy. But Manu, let's talk about him. Just, he was on all night, playing some beautiful passes. And that ball he played, just a little chip, little clip over to Leibold, class right there. And then Leibold, though, what I liked about the play he did is he took a chance. There's tight space there. It was probably reactionary. He didn't really think about it, but he's like, okay, there's Shallowy in the box. I'm going to get it to him, and I'm going to keep running. And that's stuff that we kind of did in the first half, but we seemed to be a little more aggressive in the second half because we knew we had to get back in this game.
Yeah. Again, it's not a shame to lose a game on the road, especially when you're not a top of the table team kind of thing. But at the same time, they really wanted to not lose that game. That mentality is there now, better than maybe it was before. I don't know why, just the change of coach or other things, more villains on the team. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. What did you think about Carey's quote? And I'm paraphrasing here. Um, Something about now we go out and we want to win the game or think we can win the game, whereas before we were trying to survive the game.
This episode is brought to you by the Toyota Grand Highlander. From daily routines to life-changing adventures, the Toyota Grand Highlander is spacious, powerful, and ready to take on life's grand challenges. Advanced safety features and innovative technology give you confidence for whatever life throws at you. And it's available in a hybrid Nightshade Special Edition, which includes sophisticated gloss black exterior accents and 20-inch black alloy wheels. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second LTE internet plan with smartphone plan savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Yeah, I know. He said a couple things like that in the recent past, and I don't, because you gotta always understand that Kerry's in an interesting spot because he doesn't want to say bad things about the team before he
Right.
took over
Right.
because he was part of that coaching staff, and one of his best friends was the boss, and all of that factor in there. But at the same time, he wants to separate himself a little bit and
Yeah.
say this is a different team. Um, so it's always that little fine line there. I don't know how you best work that, but I think he's doing a pretty good job of it. And he's doing a lot of that good coach speak that I've heard from a lot of other coaches around the different leagues. That Peter was not that way. He still had good coach speak, but it was a different style.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to give a little bit of credit to Basong. He struggled in the first half at left back. He did. But then when he was forced to move into the midfield, he did a good job in there. So kudos to him. And then Joveljic for sticking with it. I mean, he's that kind of guy. I think he's good at letting that previous, I
Yeah.
didn't get a shot on goal. He let that go and just focus on the moment. And gosh, what a header and what a ball by Shapi.
Yeah, and I mean a great finish by Dayon. He he's obviously a guy who has that ability. Um, again, strikers are going to be streaky. Sometimes they're going to score in bunches, and sometimes they're going to go for long droughts. And he's looking at him in the past. He's a striker that has that same tendency. Yes, he will score consistently if he can be fed consistently. I don't think he was being fed uh, very well the last couple games. So, and he even said that didn't really have chances. I forget exactly how he phrased it, but he said something along that line that he didn't really have chances over the last 3 games, maybe like one. But once he got his chances, man, because he had a good header. It was a flick, I think, in the first half. It might have been the second half, but I think it was in the first half. He had a good flick header that if it's somebody besides Berkey, maybe it slides by. You know what I mean? It wasn't like the most dangerous chance, but it was just one of those that when it comes in and you just redirect it a little bit, it has a fairly good chance. That may have been another big difference for St. Louis too, having Berkey back.
Sure. Go back to Shapi though. I mean, keeping his composure throughout all of that and then just serving a beautiful ball like that. And he kept on going throughout the rest of the match, kind of, that confidence, that attitude. And you got to love it.
The Shapi swagger. How about that?
Ooh, I like that.
We'll have to phrase that, like trademark it or something.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be a fan favorite now in many circles, I think, right?
Oh yeah. I kind of jokingly said this earlier, and it's something I will probably talk about on the pod when we have more people on also. But I think that I don't want to have a team that everybody everybody's assholes and that kind of stuff. But it's nice to have some villains on the team, and we have several villains on the team now,
Who would you put in that category?
Well, Jansen.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, obviously St. Louis hates him at the moment.
I'm surprised they didn't boo every time he touched the ball, honestly.
There's a vocal amount of people out there who was really after him on social media, which
Yeah.
just fuels him more, right?
Right.
Oh, he's a traitor and all this stuff. St. Louis could have drafted him, right? St. Louis could have signed him a couple of years ago. No, they didn't. He was drafted here. He didn't have a loyalty to a team that he never watched play other than, like once in a while. He didn't grow up watching them, all that stuff. So yeah, man, why wouldn't he have a loyalty to the team that drafted him, right? So that's a little bit crazy. But anyway, I think he's going to be of an apt villain, not because he's playing dirty, but because he's going to take those moments to hype it up, and sometimes
Right.
will give that little physical attitude also. Shapi, obviously, because he has, again, he doesn't seem to be a guy who's out there cheap shotting guys, but he's also just going to not take too much shit. Um, Jake Davis is a little bit of the villain at times because he will play up that attitude and stuff at times. Uh, Dayon, I don't know, he doesn't really do the physical stuff as much as he's just like that ice cold, like Iceman killer kind of like vibe at times. Yes, I am just good, that sort of thing.
And then last night, I mean, I'm gonna interrupt you here and add someone to the list, and maybe you were gonna do it. But post camp, after he made that save, and they just stuck his tongue out, and he kind of a little celebrated there just for a moment. I mean, are you gonna add him to that list or not?
I think he's maybe on the second tier of villains at the moment, not the
Okay,
first
all
tier.
right.
Um, but he could definitely earn that because again, he's a little bit of a fire guy too. Not
Oh yeah.
again, I don't think any of these guys are like dirty, right? They're playing with that passion and that fire that hasn't been there for this team for a little bit. So it, it bodes well for me to me. It bodes well to me that there are these guys on the team. I'm not going to say they're going to be superstars, that they're going to be the best players, or any of this other stuff. But when you have some of those players on the team, that's stuff that you can build around and continue to become a better team, right?
So of all the guys you've mentioned, they're either young, a little brash, and or they're new to the league, of Shopee. So I mean, yeah, you get that new blood in, and
Yep.
you can have a change of attitude for sure.
Yeah, it's again, I'm not trying to say that this is going to be a team that's going to like go win the MLS Cup next year. You never know, right? A couple of additions because it's what the LA Galaxy did. They were bad. They had players like Dayon. They were suffered through it. They added players. All of a sudden, this next year they were really good, and they had Ricky Puig, who was okay, then became really good, and then got hurt. But so now they're suffering for that. So you can have teams go from top to bottom and from bottom to top and back to the bottom in Galaxy's case. So yeah, I don't want to like discount that. Oh yes, they can make a big turnaround. I don't count on it because that's hard to do.
So, it's not that not that Johnny didn't have personality like that, because they certainly did. Um, but these guys have some, youthful energy behind
Yep.
it, a little bit of brashness. How much do you think the managerial change plays into that?
I don't know how much it plays into it. Um, I think it's a good question. I don't know if I have a great answer. I think it has to play somewhat into it, and that Carey allows them to be a little more. Again, I don't really ever see Peter saying no, you can't be expressive, right?
Well, right, sure.
It was just the long amount of struggles under Peter, I think, is just what wore it down to the point where it couldn't be saved. And just having a change can make all the difference for at least for a while. And right now, we still don't know, is this Carey team good, or is it just okay, or is it still bad and we're just getting everybody had a little bit of relief and now it'll go back to being bad again, right? We don't know.
Right.
And they got a very bad uh, schedule right now. They're on the third game of 3 games in a week. They'll have the regular week difference and then another 3 games in a week, with
Hmm.
5 of those 6 games being on the road.
Yeah, they've got to go to San Diego this weekend. But, it's been talked about, the word freedom has been thrown around,
Yes.
and I'm going to slightly change that a little bit. Do you think guys are perhaps a little afraid that if they behaved in a certain way, that or made a mistake that Peter would come down on them. Any of that, you think?
Oh, yes, no, yes, to a certain extent. I think I mean, we've seen players make mistakes in games and then disappear for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's been unjustified though. In some of those cases that they went out and did something really stupid on the field and they disappeared for a while. Cam Duke I think he had that sort of happen to him a couple different times where he
Yeah.
went out and just un he got a red card stupidly and then we didn't see him for a while. Things like that. So, he's a guy who had a supreme amount of talent and just didn't put it all together. And he still could. He's still pretty young, I think. He's in his 20s. So, but I guess if you're asking it that way, yes, it could be that maybe some players were worried that if they made a mistake. But I think most of those players aren't going to make the mistakes that he did, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I do feel that in the long run, it was too much of a rut, too much of the same voice, too much of we're going to essentially do the same thing. And we drill this, we drill this, we drill this, we drill this. And now they've been allowed to open up a little bit more when you have some creative people, some good attackers like Dayon and Manu specifically. Allow them to have a little more freedom.
So, anybody in particular impress you or not impress you during the match last night?
Good question. How about you? Since you asked it.
Yeah, like I said, Basong, left back, he struggled. He struggled.
Yeah.
Miller had a few little moments. He also had some good moments. Volater had one or two little moments. I just flashed on it in my head. I don't know what was the 83rd minute where Miller fell down as he was retreating and defending, and they had that chance. Yeah, boy. I mean, obviously not Miller's fault that he fell down, but ooh, glad we escaped that one. But I mean, Tommy was okay. Didn't really make much of a difference. I was disappointed in the sense that Davis came out at half, but ended up working out, obviously. Shallowy was kind of shallowy in the first half, the struggling shallowy, because he had a few opportunities himself, but then obviously redeemed himself with that assist because, that was a pretty sweet assist. Sticking his head in there, and yeah, that was nice. Nobody else really stuck out either way for me. Obviously, Joveljic, finishing. Bullscamp was great.
Yeah,
So,
especially, well, I was gonna say, especially in the second half, but I mean, he made some good saves in the first half too, if I remember
oh
correctly.
yeah, oh yeah.
I don't fault him for either of those goals.
Brody, he's getting more playing time, and you can see he's improving with more time and better fitness. So, I thought he performed admirably.
I think with Brody, we have a player who's very solid.
Yeah. Kind of like a Sinovic-ish,
yes.
sort of. Yeah.
You may look at him and go, is he a professional athlete?
Yeah, is that gray on the side of his head? We were trying to figure that out last night, or is that?
Yeah.
Not that I'm one to talk, but
Yeah, at least he has gray. Kidding. Yeah, no, he's a guy who I think is exactly why they went and got him, and it was just sad that he got hurt right away and wasn't able to contribute because they needed a guy who could play that spot reliably, consistently, and that's what they got. He's not going to be the superstar right back that comes up and get you 12 assists, but I mean, he can still help.
So we have any word on Rodia's extent of his injury?
Not really. Did not.
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit michelobultra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
Summer's here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Dang. Have somebody. Yeah, we'll work on that tomorrow. Might have just had a guest pop up.
I thought we were about done.
I know.
I was told that I was called a wanker. So
who told you that?
I feel like I have to.
Is Cody up in your DMs telling you you're a wanker?
No, well that wouldn't surprise me. But Carrie told me that Thad called me a wanker, so I have to come and defend my honor now. Goodness gracious!
Hey, you said, I was first of all, Daniel Sperry from the Kansas City Star. He was also in St. Louis last night. Went out drinking without me afterwards. But anyway,
who'd you go drinking with?
I had water. We're good here, guys.
Okay, but who'd you go with?
I was invited to the place across the street from some people that I know that work for both Sporting and St. Louis. So.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yes.
That's a nice little place. O'Dowd's, yeah?
No.
Yeah.
No.
O'Dowd's?
No, Maggie O'Malley's.
Oh,
Okay.
That's what it is. That's right. That's right.
I didn't know if you meant gonna mean the pitch, because that's kind of across the street also.
Yeah, it is. It's across the street from the place that was across the street. So.
Oh yeah, the one that you're talking about was one that the first year when I was leaving there saw a interesting fight outside of.
Yes. There's security. There was security out there last night when I walked over after finally filing my story and getting out of there. So
Yeah, I had that long walk back to a very empty parking lot.
So, Mr. Sperry, what comments do you have about last night's match? What stood out to you?
Oh, wait.
Oh.
He came in here to call me out, right?
Okay.
And I just want to say, I originally asked you if you wanted to be on, and I said I understand if you don't, because you were away from home last night, and you may need to be doing daddy duty tonight, which I completely understand and respect.
Are you putting your child to bed right now because you're like doing a walking camera here? What's going on?
Oh, he's already asleep, I think. Hopefully.
So then you said, yeah, I probably can, but it might be a little bit late. And then you could just all of a sudden, oh, I'm tired, I can't do it. That's when I said, oh, the wanker decided not to show up. So you earned that wanker.
Sure, maybe. I am tired. I didn't necessarily want to talk a whole bunch about this, but at the same time,
give us a thought. Come on, Daniel, give us a thought.
A thought. I thought Sporting by far was the better soccer team on the night, but I think there was a point where they had to realize it. They had to start feeding Manu in the tight spaces and closer to goal. They had to start linking up and combining with Dejan. I thought Carey's idea of, I asked him afterwards why he started Tommy over Shapi, and the tactical reasoning for it was 100% sound. but he said, it didn't work out because he, nobody was getting him in those spots. We couldn't get him the ball in those spots. And I think there's time where this team sometimes is almost too afraid to take the risk because they don't want to get burned on the counter. But in that match, they were forced to take the risk. And when they take the risk, they get the reward because they were really, really good when they got those balls in the tight spaces. If you go back and rewatch the very first, like, attacking sequence off the kickoff, Sporting get into those spots. Manu is crashing the penalty spot. Tommy is cutting inside. They're playing slipped passes. The St. Louis back line is dropping off like you thought they would. Tommy's getting in behind further towards the end line. But for whatever reason, after that, Tommy not getting on the ball in those spots. They were finding players. Jacob Bartlett was the guy that was getting the ball at the top of the box close to goal, and his pass was always sideways or somewhere safe. And they just had to get themselves into a spot where they were more direct and aggressive against the St. Louis back line, because when they did that in the first game, that's when the chances started opening up time and time again. And they did that again in this one. 70th minute hit. St. Louis was tired, as they always are all season long. From the 70th minute on, they look like a gas-tired team that can't finish a game. They look like Sporting did last year. And they took advantage of it. They got more direct. They got numbers in behind. They got the ball in behind, and started getting, St. Louis playing defense while having to face their goal. And that changed the tide of the game. So I think it took them a while to realize that they are the better soccer team, that they could go through and play through them like they did. It just, like, they had to learn that, though. At some point, like, Gary can tell them all he wants, but they have to go out there and do it and put it together. I think when they finally did, you saw their superiority, and I thought they probably could have pushed for a winner, but I also respect the idea of trying to fight and bunker out the point on the road as well. So,
Yeah, if they'd have dropped the point late in that game, that would have been a heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's what I was dreading as well. But no, Daniel, agree with everything you said. Just, to you, Manu, just showing his class all throughout that pitch last night.
Yeah. And the times that he turned St. Louis midfielders and defenders time and time again. He was, when they can get him closer to goal, though, that's when, like, the really dangerous magic happens. I thought there was a really good, like, 1-2 pass setup that he and Dejan got off. I don't know if it ended up resulting in a shot, but they literally just ball passed each other basically into the 18 before someone finally stuck a foot in and got a foot on it. And, like, that connection is there. And even Dejan mentioned it after the game. Like, I said, Dejan, you haven't scored in a while. I know it's kind of how it goes as a striker. And he goes, I haven't had chances in the last few games to even score a goal. And in a way, he's 100% right.
Yes.
They really haven't found him and got him in the spots that was good, where he was scoring the goals. He gets opportunity on the set piece. Had a lot more opportunities last night through the run of play. And I just think that at some point, that switch has got to flip for them, either before the game starts or in the middle of the game, that they can be direct, they can play incisive through the lines, vertically through the lines, and not try and do this left to right, left to right, left to right kind of stuff, and just see if maybe something opens up. They can make it open up themselves with their movement off the ball and with their passing ability. With guys like Manu, guys like Radoya has shown really well in the passing game, although he's injured now. Actually, I was looking at this. Zoran Basong is like one of the best players on Sporting KC this year when he plays in the midfield for progressive passes. He gets the ball vertical in those moments, and I think there's a bit of that on the goals, and it worked out.
So there's been some discussion about player of the game. We all know who got it according to MLS or Apple, whatever. Who would you guys call it as player of the game?
I'm gonna go with John.
Ooh. I would agree with Thad for the sake of defending Dejan as the player of the game. I am gonna say I think, like, there's a reason Sporting spent X amount of dollars, $4 million, to bring Dejan Joveljic over, and it was because he scores goals and he scores them in big moments. Every single goal he has scored this season has either been to tie or to take the lead, or is the game-winning goal. And in those moments, like, he is the guy that you call upon in those moments. And so, like, the whole name of the game is goals. And I think him stepping up in that moment, I thought he was dangerous all night. He gets the header, a brilliant header. I think he deserves some shout because that was a very good performance from him. But man, John really did keep the team in the game.
Yeah.
And that score line, a couple of different ways, maybe could have been 3-0, 4-0 at some point if it wasn't for John Pulskamp and keeping that score line at 2, the ability for them to come back. So I think, can we do it this way? John was the most valuable performance, but Dejan's deserved man of the match for the big goal.
How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say John, because I agree we could have been down and this comeback never would have happened. But Dejan was dangerous all night. I just wish he had finished maybe one of those earlier in the first half that maybe he should have. But that header, I mean, come on. He took a risk just like Daniel did with his ball back to Leibold, stuck his head in there, jumped in there, no fear in the moment. And that's what makes a difference in many games.
So who was the player of the game according to them?
Pompeo.
It was Pompeo.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, I was thinking it was a St. Louis player when I saw it before, but I couldn't find it just now when I was looking.
All credit. His goal was stunning.
Yeah.
But he also had a pretty big influence in getting trying to riling Shapi up to the point where Shapi decided to go full heel and really kind of mental fortitude it out those moments where Pompeo seems to be trying to show that he had it and in reality didn't. But I will say Pompeo was very dangerous in the first half. In some of the spots that he got on. He had a couple of opportunities for really good shots, and that goal that he scored, sorry, John, that's your third straight goal of like unstoppable shots of bicycle kicks and an absolute screamer. So it's hard. I will give him credit. Very good goal.
At some point, they have to stop scoring like worldly class goals. I mean, you just can't have that be like every single goal and then just a fluke bounce off of a guy running through the box goal also.
Right. Well, and that's the second time that they've had a goal like that. The goal in that Portland, the second goal for Portland is just that ridiculous shot deflection, loops off of Kevin Kelsey and flies the other way. I mean, it's just it's incredible the bad luck that has gone Sporting's way in some of those moments where I don't know that it's about did they create good luck or did they create bad luck? Like some point, that's just bad luck.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I have a struggle to say like who was in my opinion, the Sporting player of the match, because yes, John, Dejan, Manu deserves at least a little bit of a shout, and Shapi for basically destroying the mental stability of St. Louis. Not just Pompeo, but many of because they were so down on Shapi, man. You booing him and yelling at him, and I'm like, he wasn't doing much of anything except laughing at your guy.
Yep.
All right. I know Robert's got to go here in a second. Any thoughts, last words, any impressions of our hometown's team?
Well, yet another chance to show what the team's got going into San Diego. I mean, that's going to be never ending the rest of the season, right?
Yeah, and again, we talked a little bit earlier. It's a tough stretch right now for games, so we'll see if they can survive through this and still be kind of going back and forth between getting points and not getting points. They can basically regroup and then make a run later in the season. And I do think that they'll bring somebody in the summer window. I don't know who or what, but we'll see. How about you, Daniel?
No more thoughts, just that my honor has been defended. And no, I will say this. for all of the like talking back and forth and the annoyance of Kansas City fans towards St. Louis, I really do enjoy the St. Louis match day experience. It is a very good stadium. It's a great sight line from the press box. It's a good atmosphere. I like the fans get it from a fan perspective in terms of supporting their team, and that with a better team, that is a really hostile, difficult place to go play.
Yeah.
So I do have to give the platitudes of I enjoy the match day experience there, and I do hope sporting fans at some point do take the away trip over there. I know midweek is hard, so I won't hold it
Yeah.
against you, but like fans have got to go at least experience that because it's a short, easy away day experience, and it's a good away day experience.
Schedule makers need to give Kansas City a better opportunity to do that also, but
Correct.
For sure.
that's they have not been doing them any favors in this rivalry match. But yeah, no, again, I'll do credit to what St. Louis is doing. They do a good match day. They trying to have an identity as a team. They're struggling with that aspect of it right now, but the fans want to have a team to play well. They're out there hoping. They're showing up.
All right, Daniel, thank you. Thank you, Thad. I'm going to head out, boys.
Thank you for being here, Robert. Thank you for showing up. If I have to call you out every time, Sperry, I'll do that. And see you soon. We are out.
Sipping back on a can. I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. Has just been sent off. Some pointer strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.